Assalamu alaikum everyone. My name is Sarat Ayamani. I am a teacher to student at Rehan School, Lahore campus. Today we will discuss how to improve focus and concentration. In today's fast-paced world, distractions are everywhere, making it difficult to stay focused on our goals and daily tasks. By developing healthy habits, managing distractions, and practicing mindfulness, we can improve our concentration and achieve greater success in both personal and professional life. So, don't waste time. We connect with Maya for this discussion.
Hi, what's up?
Hi, Maya. How are you?
I'm doing great. How about you?
Yeah, I'm okay. Today we discuss how to improve focus and concentration.
I'm down for that. Since we touched on this a bit recently, where do you want to start today? Any specific part of focusing that's been tripping you up?
Okay, what is focus and concentration?
Think of focus as your spotlight. It's the ability to zero in on one thing and block out the noise. Concentration is more like the muscle that keeps that spotlight steady over time. Does that distinction make sense, or does it feel like they're basically the same thing to you?
Okay. Why is concentration important in daily life?
It's basically the difference between just starting a task and actually finishing it. Without it, you're just skimming the surface of your day. When you can actually concentrate, you get things done faster, you make fewer mistakes, and you don't end up feeling that mental exhaustion that comes from jumping between 10 different things. I'm curious, in your teaching practice, do you find it harder to keep your own focus or to help your students stay locked in?
Okay. What are the common cases of poor concentration?
It's usually a mix of the obvious stuff and the things we don't even notice. You've got the external distractions, like a phone buzzing or a loud room, and then the internal ones, like when your mind just decides to wander off to what you're having for dinner while you're in the middle of something important. Stress and burnout are huge too. When your brain is overloaded, it just stops cooperating. Does any of that sound familiar? Or is it something else entirely?
How does sleep affect our focus?
Sleep is basically the reset button for your brain. When you're sleep deprived, your brain struggles to filter out irrelevant information. So every little noise or random thought feels like a huge distraction. It's like trying to drive through thick fog. You're moving, but you can't see the road clearly. I've heard that even one bad night of sleep can make your reaction time and decision making feel like you're operating on a delay.
Can a healthy diet improve concentration?
Absolutely. Your brain is a high energy organ. So if you're fueling it with nothing but sugar and caffeine, you're going to crash hard. Eating things like omega 3s, proteins, and complex carbs gives you a steady stream of energy instead of those wild spikes and dips. It's the difference between a candle that burns steady and a firework that just pops and disappears. Do you find your energy levels dip at a certain time of day?
Okay, what role does exercise play in enhancing focus?
Exercise is like a shot of adrenaline for your brain. It gets the blood flowing and releases chemicals that basically prime your mind to be more alert and attentive. Even a quick walk can clear the mental cobwebs and make it way easier to dive back into a task with a fresh perspective. I wonder if you've ever noticed a difference in your focus after you've been active versus when you've been sitting for a few hours.
How do smartphones and social media affect attention?
They basically train our brains to crave a constant stream of new information. It's like we're conditioning ourselves to have an attention span of about 15 seconds. Every time you scroll and find something interesting, your brain gets a little hit of dopamine, and that makes it really hard to settle into something that requires deep, slow effort. It turns your focus into a series of quick jumps rather than a steady line. I'm curious, do you find yourself reaching for your phone when a task gets even slightly boring or difficult?
What is the Pomodoro technique?
It's a time management method that uses a timer to break your work into chunks. Traditionally, you work for 25 minutes and then take a 5-minute break. After four of those cycles, you take a longer break. It's great because it makes a big project feel less daunting and forces you to actually step away from the screen or your books. Do you think that kind of structure would help you stay on track, or do you prefer to just dive in until you're finished?
How can mindfulness improve concentration?
Mindfulness is essentially training your brain to notice when it's drifted away and gently bringing it back. Instead of fighting the distraction, you just acknowledge it, like, oh, I'm thinking about lunch, and then pivot back to the task. Over time, that actually strengthens your concentration muscle, making it easier to stay locked in without feeling like you're in a constant battle with your own thoughts. Have you ever tried any breathing exercises or meditation to clear your head?
Okay, can meditation help improve focus?
It really can. Meditation is basically like a gym for your attention. When you spend time just focusing on your breath or a single sound, you're practicing the exact skill you need for deep work. The more you do it, the more you can stay present when things around you get chaotic. I've heard it can even physically change the way your brain handles distractions. Do you think you'd be open to trying a few minutes of it a day, or does the idea of sitting still feel a bit too restless for you?
What are some effective time management strategies?
There are a bunch of different ways to handle it depending on how your brain works. You've got things like the Eisenhower matrix, which helps you separate the urgent stuff from the actually important stuff. Then there's time blocking, where you actually carve out specific slots in your calendar for certain tasks so you aren't just reacting to whatever happens. And of course, we talked about Pomodoro for those times when you just can't seem to get started. I'm wondering, do you usually plan your day out in advance, or do you tend to wing it and see where the day takes you?
How can we reduce distractions while studying or working?
The first step is usually creating a physical boundary, whether that's a quiet corner, a noise canceling headset, or even just putting your phone in another room entirely. When you can't see the distraction, your brain doesn't have to work as hard to ignore it. It also helps to communicate your boundaries to the people around you so they know when you're in the zone and shouldn't be interrupted. I wonder if you have a dedicated space for your studies, or if you're usually working in the middle of the action.
How can students improve their focus in class?
For students, it often comes down to active engagement. Instead of just listening, they can try taking handwritten notes, asking questions, or even just sketching a few keywords. Keeps the brain occupied so it doesn't have room to wander. Also, sitting toward the front of the room helps because it cuts down on the visual distractions of other students on their phones. Since you're in teacher training, do you think these are things you can actually encourage in a classroom, or does it feel like an uphill battle?
Okay, what are some brain exercises to boost concentration?
One of the biggest ones is called chunking. It's where you break down a massive amount of information into smaller, manageable groups. Your brain is way better at remembering a few clusters of data than a long, random string of facts. Then there's active recall, where you force your brain to retrieve information rather than just reading it over and over, which actually strengthens the neural pathways to just that info. I've heard that switching tasks, even for a second, creates a switching cost that drains your mental energy. So, sticking to one thing is the most efficient way to process. Do any of those sound like things you've already used in your studies?
Okay, thank you, Maya, and thank you everyone for joining this discussion on how to improve focus and concentration. May we all learn to train our minds, develop positive habits, and stay committed to our goals with clarity and determination. Remember, focus is not about doing everything at once, it is about giving your best attention to what truly matters. Wishing you success, productivity, and a bright future filled with achievement and growth. Thank you and take care.
You're very welcome.